one. We are live. What is up?
Hi, how's it going?
How are you doing?
It's been a really long week.
I feel you, and it's only Wednesday.
It is, yeah, it's only Wednesday, but I feel like the past 2 weeks have been just long.
October's
For
dragging.
October is dragging. I feel like it was honestly, I feel like Halloween because Halloween is specifically or a week, less than a week from today,
Yeah.
about 6 days now. So thought yesterday was Halloween for some reason, but no, actually, it's not. We still have a whole week to go, so here we are.
A whole week. I know. I was just
Whole
like, man,
week.
October is slow this year.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm happy with it because so August came and went. September left. Like she also had somewhere to go too. So, but I mean, in terms of movies, I think it has been kind of slow, with the exception of obviously Killers of the Flower Moon, The Creator, and then the Taylor Swift Eras tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
But other than
is.
that, I think it has been pretty mellow. Um, but yeah, welcome back to another episode. I'm really excited to see the review for Killers of the Flower Moon that Adam will be releasing soon with his friend. Who is your friend?
So yeah, my buddy Joseph, we worked together at Geek Squad. He had we had like this running like joke because he's into movies as well. Where he would say like, "Oh, you want to be on the podcast?" And then he'd be like, "Yeah, let me know when." And then the next time I would see him, he'd be like, "Oh, when am I going to be on the podcast?" I was like, "Oh, dude, like when do you want to be on it?" So we kind of had like this like just this like I said,
Like a
one
running
liner.
gag.
Yeah, like this running gag. Like when are you gonna be on the podcast? And then so we agreed to go see Killers of the Flower Moon together, and then I was like, well, perfect. Then you can be on the podcast. He talked me into seeing Killers of the Flower Moon. I wouldn't have seen this movie if he hadn't told
Oh my
me.
God, yeah. I
Yeah,
was I was honestly on the fence about it too. For my own personal reasons, but honestly, after I haven't seen it yet, but now I will. Mostly because you did see it, and I do want to talk about it like off camera. But
hmm
my first initial reaction, mostly, and I think after watching a couple reviews, especially after sending you the review that I sent you, who shout out to Native Media Theory, who did a really excellent job at reviewing and kind of having more of a personal insight, indigenous POV towards this movie and how that means to their community. Made me reflect on my stance about Scorsese and just him in general. Because I mean, if you've heard our podcast before, we've kind of just like back talk Scorsese or any of
yeah,
like the bigger lead guys, at least
yeah,
from my perspective, and been like, yeah, this guy doesn't know and doesn't understand like modern cinema or whatever. But that's not the case. Actually, it's far from the case, and I think I've been wrong and by in saying that because uh, I really wasn't paying attention like I should have in regards to the source material.
yeah,
I just thought about it being a Scorsese film. I didn't really think the fact that it was bigger. And honestly, it's ironic because that's more of the metaphor that this movie is trying to convey. That this movie is way bigger than just someone who is not POC or whatever and or indigenous is like retelling, right? So that made
yeah,
me really reconsider my stance and been like, wow, you've been kind of really ignorant, man, about seeing a movie just because of so and so, you know?
yeah, for
But
sure.
now that just that so thank you. And I caught myself there in the sense where I'm like, damn, yeah, I need to go catch this film because it really is important, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's a really good film. Me personally, I won't see it again. Just 3.5 hours is a lot to ask of somebody. This is for somebody who could like saw Endgame in theaters like 6, 7 times. I sound like a hypocrite in that sense. Um, but no, yeah, I think it's a great film. Don't get me wrong, but it's like one time and I'm okay. Like I'm all right. Like
yeah.
that's fine. Um, but overall, I we talked about it. I think it's a fantastic film. The cast really blends well together. The great chemistry within this film, and It's just it's another Scorsese hit. Like it's hard to argue that Scorsese isn't a good filmmaker.
Of course.
It's just hard to not be annoyed with him when he comes out and says these stupid remarks towards modern day cinema. It's just it's simple as that. So it's just like when you have somebody who is disrespecting the things you like, you tend not to want to support them in that way. But
Absolutely. I agree with that.
you can easily
Um,
make a case to say separate the art from the artist, but when the artist is attacking the art that he contributes to, it's hypocritical. So
yeah. And not only Scorsese can fit that category, there are plenty other
oh yeah, for sure,
artists out
for
there
sure.
that are really contributing to just more of that reason. But sticking to the plot, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna check it out. Probably just check it out once because I am like, don't get me wrong, I love slow paced films.
Yeah,
Or I love movies that take their time, but then there are movies that take their time, and when the plot isn't enhanced and it doesn't make you feel like you're not watching a 3 hour movie, then that's something that I can enjoy. But obviously, this is more than just a 3 hour and 26 minute movie. It's about something that actually is based on true events, and
yeah,
more so, there's a bigger picture there too. So, um, it's exciting. I don't know,
yeah.
but I'm excited to hear, and thank you, Joseph, for being a guest star on the podcast. We haven't had a guest star in a while, so I'm really happy that he was able to join
Well,
in
technically,
studio.
we
So
we
that's really great.
we had guests last week actually.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
we had my mom and sister on completely last minute.
on the
Um,
Adams Family video, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely.
It
That
was
was
funny. It
lovely.
was funny.
I love that video.
But no, yeah. To wrap up on Killers of the Flower Moon. It's a good it's like you say. The 3 hours, the 3.5 hours is kind of like a big red flag. But honestly, the film does drag in the first act. It's a lot of world building within the Osage, who are the indigenous the Native Americans that they're focusing on. And it takes a long time. It really picks up when the FBI shows up, and things really start to get interesting. But overall, it's a fantastic film. I say I'll never see it again, but who obviously never say never.
Yeah, I'm excited
Um,
to see how the collector's edition is going to come out. Like to be
we'll
like in terms
see.
of the physical digital copy.
We'll see if it even gets one. With Best Buy saying they're no longer going to be
Best Buy
selling.
saying that? Are you serious?
Best Buy said they're not going to be. They're getting rid of physical media by the end of Q1 of 2024.
Oh no,
Yeah,
this is
so
such
this
a
is the
scary
end.
transition.
This is the end. It's gonna be so niche now where people are gonna you're not gonna be able to just go pre-order a steelbook. Like the
Yeah,
distributors are gonna have to sell them themselves. Based
absolutely.
on
There's like, for example, when it comes to horror movies, and I'm only adding that because there have been some like remasters on some classic horror films, and there are third-party websites that will like completely do it
mm-hmm.
for a limited like completely revamp the
Yep.
whole like material, and also to the box that it comes in, or just like the digital art on it, and it's like it's limited, but you can buy it online, but it's going to be at a higher price because obviously it's custom made too. So
Yeah.
it's like I think it's going to result to that in a sense too. Like if it's opening a pathway to people to have that specification of a job and be able to like profit off it, but also to like now we're no longer going off like
Yeah. It's
that's
the
weird.
it's the death of physical media. We're transitioning into it. It's gonna be
Yeah.
it's gonna be like collecting basically.
Can you
Not it's
believe that we've lived through that or going through that again?
Yeah.
First with VHS with like,
Yeah.
and then now with like DVDs and Blu-ray, and now
Yeah.
we're going to just digital.
It's the end. A good era, you know. So many fun steelbooks that I own. You know,
Those are gonna be, and you have them like really well preserved too. Those are gonna go up in price.
try to. Some of them are better than others. But to kind of get into the episode, really, we got two topics. Marvel Spider-Man 2 came out for the PS5, and Daniel Radcliffe reunited with his stunt double, which is a really nice story. Those are our two topics outside of the box office. But we want to get right into the box office.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right.
I'm actually really I'm really interested because I thought it was gonna be a little different, but you know what? It hasn't. So, but I mean, do you want to start with number five?
Yeah, I'm gonna just run through it and then
Okay,
we'll
cool.
talk about it. So coming in at number five is A Nightmare Before Christmas, making $4.3 million. It is a 30th anniversary re-release, so it won't go towards the original making of when this film came out. I don't know if there were any included like new scenes or any like interviews at the beginning or after or anything that like was special for them to call it a re-release and not put it in the actual original run.
Uh-huh.
Because like it is, like I said, it's the 30th anniversary, so I would have to assume there was a little more than what you get. But it made 4.3 on this past weekend, and it's currently sitting at 4.6. It's a film that probably will make $6 or $7 million by the end of it, just because we're on the cusp of Halloween. So
And Christmas time too, because it is a dual like
yeah.
holiday when it comes to seeing this movie. You can either see this movie in the Christmas time or you can see this literally in Halloween time, and they both work very well.
Oh, 100%. I just don't know if it will make it to Christmas.
Probably not. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's like a short I think it was like a weekend, no, was it? Usually
It's a
it's like a week
possibility. Yeah.
release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely a possibility. I don't. In all honesty, I don't know. Coming in at number four is Paw Patrol, the Mighty Movie, making $4.4 million. It currently sits at $148 million worldwide, 56 of that being domestic and 92 of that being international. Coming in at number three is The Exorcist Believer, making $5.7 million, currently sitting at $108 million worldwide, 54 of that being domestic and 53 of that being international. A pretty even split there. Coming in at number two is Killers of the Flower Moon, making $23.3 million. Currently sits at $46 million worldwide, making 25 domestically and 21 international. And coming in at number one, with no surprise, is Taylor Swift The Eras Tour, making $33.2 million, bringing the grand total up to $178 million. 131 of that being domestic and 46 of that being international.
Have you
Pretty
gotten a chance
standard.
to go see it?
What are you talking about? Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
I won't, I'm gonna be honest. I won't be seeing it. You have to pay for it. I'm good. You know?
Yeah, I mean the price is 19.89, so that's
Yeah.
funny.
That's that. No, no, I'm not
And
paying for.
for kids 1313 her
Have
favorite
you
number.
seen
So if you don't know, we're a certified Swifty podcast here, certified for
half
sure.
half of uh half
Half
of
of
this
us.
podcast
No,
is
no, there's one time I think you did say I think you're kind of a Swifty.
she got bangers, but I wouldn't consider myself.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
no, hang on, no, hang on. She's got catchy songs. I wouldn't say that I'm a Swifty though.
She got bangers. You already said
She
it.
she has
She
catchy
got the
songs.
bangers.
They
She got the
she has
bang and
songs
the
that get
ers.
stuck in your head, and you're like, where have I heard that before?
And you know it.
And then you
Let's
realize
see,
it's Taylor
Misha, where
Swift.
you been? I
So you
can
got to go
show
wash
you.
your mouth out with soap after that because it's Taylor Swift. She's leading. She is leading the box office, and she's all over the NFL. I don't know about you, but I'm swifted out.
I
Um,
love it actually. Recently, if you haven't seen the SNL where Pete Davidson actually hosts for the first time, um, they go into this segment where I think it's really freaking funny where they're like it's supposed to be all sports commentary and the joke is that they're all undercover Swifties. So they just continue going into this whole thing. Travis Kelce makes an appearance, so does Taylor Swift does a little guest appearance towards the end. And it's really, really funny. But to see these worlds mix just feels like the true American dream of what it's
dude,
supposed to be.
did you know who Travis Kelsey was prior to Taylor Swift?
I knew his brother because the Eagles.
Just,
And because of the Eagles, because I have two really close friends of mine that love the Eagles, and that's their team. And every time they talk sports, I'm just there listening. So some names are retained. I didn't know that he was related to Travis Kelsey.
okay, they
So I didn't know
they
they were brothers, and
yeah,
then I didn't know they had a
they
podcast,
do have a
which is
podcast. Yeah,
actually really entertaining and fun.
and then
And
their podcast is fantastic.
I just started listening because of the fact that it's father. Like,
Yeah,
but yeah. That's all I have to say. That's all I can really add to that. But no, yeah, you're right, of course. And also too, we're not the only ones. I feel like there's a lot of NFL Swifty mix up on TikTok recently that a lot of people are like, had I
Dude,
not
the
known
the effect that she's
one world
had.
or the other, these
Yeah.
worlds wouldn't intertwine. So, and it's just nice, but we'll see how it goes.
Not to get into it. I think we have talked about it. I don't know. But there are conspiracy theorists that the NFL is hoping that this will lead her to eventually doing a Super Bowl halftime show, because she's turned it down multiple times, I want to say.
She has,
Um,
yeah.
I know she's turned it down once, but I think she's turned it down more than I want to say she's turned it down more than once. Point is, so the NFL's apparently inside sources have said the NFL is really hoping that they will that she will basically be willing to do a halftime show now, because she's actually a part of the world of the NFL. She gets more coverage than some of our sports teams.
It's
Uh,
insane.
it
Whoever's running the
is.
Twitter account, by the way, you guys gotta chill. Like,
It's too
first of all, your
much.
bios are like, oh yeah, or like the stadiums that they have, they're like Taylor Swift was here, or like Taylor Swift was inside me, and it's like, relax, dude.
Oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh.
You gotta
Also,
relax.
the the effect of how many, like, I think it was like 13 to 8, like 18-year-olds of actually watching the like NFL games, and
Yeah.
like watching it, and then his like Travis Kelsey's jersey sales jumped like 400%.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Like,
I'm
it's
one of them. I,
insane. It's
just kidding.
insane.
No,
It's
but I was gonna
crazy.
say, listen, it's crazy how much like it's think of it as PR. We did it, we clickbaited once Taylor Swift, right? And like that, we got so many views on that, and we're like, we didn't even speak of her, I think like for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, and it worked.
Well,
So the NFL is doing the right thing by making their streaming and getting the viewers up, even
ha-
though obviously there's so much.
the title of this episode will be Taylor Swift ruins the world. That is the official title of
It's
this
gonna be
episode. It's
like
super
runs the
clickbait.
world.
Yeah, ruins.
It's gonna be some
Taylor Swift
Illuminati
ruins the world again.
question mark at the
No,
end.
absolute exclamation mark. No, it's crazy. It's insane the effect that this has.
Yeah, but you
But
know what's insane?
yeah,
The amount of copies sold that Spider-Man 2 released. I mean, did in its opening night day. I don't know. You were there. You're present. You were counting down the day. You're ironing the suit.
it's my
Walk me through that
suit.
day before you turned on and you
So I had
put
to go
on
to
the
work,
mask.
which that wasn't fun.
Of course, yeah, because you
But
have to like wait.
my day was shorter than I expected, because I had clients who canceled on me that day. So I was able to go home after one like 2-3 hours, and I was able to play. But dude. Let me okay. I don't want to like spoil anything for those who haven't played it. The film is this
The
okay,
film.
hold on. Or sorry, the game. The game. It feels
But
like a
it's a
film.
film. It's a film
Yeah, like
entirely. Okay, so for
games
me,
are
I
cinematic experiences.
games
That's all
are
they are
they're
now.
going to be cinematic experiences moving forward, especially with the freaking hype that. Okay, correct me because is Insomaniac or Insomniac? Which one is
Insomniac.
it?
Insomniac.
Insomniac. Okay, so Insomniac Games is in their bag with Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is one of the most fleshed out, bona fide, incredible, artistically like for the plot, fleshed out, driven Spider-Man story arc that's ever Spider-Man ever.
It
Like
is.
in regards to like Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, MJ, Harry Osborn, like the world that is in there, it's like incredible. I sat through 15 hours and 46 minutes of gameplay for this.
How do you know
I
that
know that's
for a
weird for me
fact?
for me to say because like look, I I it's dumb for me to say because I have the PS5. I could easily buy the game. I can buy the game, but first of all, I haven't even finished the first one, and I haven't finished the second one. But you know what I did do? See the gameplay for all of it for both, and now I sat. It took me 3 days to finish Spider-Man 2 altogether, and I think it's one of the best. video games, I think I haven't even physically played it, but I think it's better than Uncharted for myself. And it's even been said that it was like better than, and this is something controversial for you because you played that game, God of War Ragnarok.
So I'm glad you bring that up because the record has to do with a God of War Ragnarok. Let me read a little bit of this, and then we'll get into I'll get into how I feel. So
Okay.
Spider-Man breaks sales records for 2.5 million copies sold in the first 24 hours. This includes the PS5 bundles and pre-orders.
Oh wow.
So I did the math roughly, and you know what I did? I multiplied it basically by um by a single copy of a game, which is what, like $70 now.
Yeah,
So
79.99
yeah,
roughly.
yeah, right around there. So I just put 70 even. It made $175 million roughly. Probably well more because the PS5s. This is including the base copy. I only did it by $2.5 million. This doesn't include the digital deluxes, the collector's editions, and the PS5 bundles. So there were 4 total versions of the game that you can get, which was the base copy, which is disc or digital, the digital deluxe, which basically came with a bunch of pre-order bonuses and a bunch of like in-game exclusives, and then obviously the collector's edition that came with the Venom statue and Spider-Man and Miles Morales, and the Steel Book, which included the digital. So it's weird. Sony is weird with that. They'll sell you a collector's edition, but they don't give you a physical disc. I think that's really weird.
That is dumb. I don't like that.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't like that at all.
Death of physical media, and then lastly, obviously the PS5 bundle. Um, so it's been crazy how much people have talked about it. But even then, like the consistent countdown from when the first trailer came out, when they announced Craven, to hey, pre-orders are coming here. Hey, there's a new PS5. Hey, we're having a controller. We're having the side plates. Like, it's been insane. Like, it's been absolutely insane. Okay, I say 5 years because that was when the first Spider-Man came out. Because we got Miles Morales, which was is basically
A
uh,
continuation. In a sense, it really is important to.
oh yeah, 100%. But it's a really long DLC. Because it's like
Mhm.
half the length of the first game, but it's so
Yeah.
fantastic as well. It's like it's a nice medium where you're left wanting more and anticipating that second game. Okay, this is I like to say that I treat our podcast like a PG-13 film. You get one F bomb in a PG-13 film. So all I can say about this game is fucking awesome. Like it is like it is so freaking cool. It like I every time I am playing, like, I haven't finished it. I am rushing through it, but I'm also like,
Are you just doing the story mode
no, I'm
or
doing
are you?
everything. I'm doing
Oh,
everything.
okay. Because I figured because
Spider-Man
you're
does
like you're
everything.
71% done, and I was like, dude, you're doing a lot then. Like if you're really like
Yeah.
you're going through the missions and like from what, and non spoiler at all, but from what I've been reading from the community who has been playing the game as long as well, is how like it's funny how you can do like a one like main story mission and it be just kind of like all fighting and plot, but then you can do a side piece like quest and it just is so much like thoroughness and emotion and character
Yep.
depth, and
Yep.
you're like
Yep.
at one point sitting on a park bench with this stranger,
Howard. No, it's oh yeah. Never mind. Yeah, a stranger. Yeah, I was. Yeah,
and
you're
he's
right.
just kind of like giving you life advice and you're just like
Yep.
taking it, you're like,
Yep.
you're right.
Yep. It's fantastic. The game is super amazing. No pun intended. But like every time I think this game can't get any better, it it gets better. Like I've been so shocked with how much how much they packed into this game, how much they world build, how much like they have not
Improved from the
neglected.
first one too,
Oh yeah,
right?
one hundred
Like
percent, 100%. Everything great about the first game is heightened in this one. From the MJ missions to obviously having more Miles, to focusing on Harry being in it, which and it's just like focusing on it's just like Peter after the death of Aunt May. Like everything is just so focused, and like like 5 years, but really 3. It's just like they were cooking and they are reaping the rewards. Like they were cooking these years. Like they were really, really in their bag with this game.
Yeah, I agree.
So many like there's so much emotion to this game too. Like it's insane. It's insane. Like they really this is they like I mean, I told you this feels like this is Andrew Garfield's way of Spider-Man
I'm
living
so glad you said
like
this because
even though obviously that is not the case. This is not Andrew Garfield's world, but I'm just like, dude, this is like the world I would have envisioned that Andrew Garfield would have been like with like this is his Spider-Man world. This is what it feels like because the technology is very there with the villains, even Peter Parker, you know, and it's just like the way like just Norman Osborn kind of being present and just how Oscorp is handled. And there's just so much like going on where it just feels like it's really in a today setting and today world where it's just like this
absolutely.
feels like Andrew Garfield's world. Like that's just how it feels personally for me.
And you know what? You're not alone because the gameplay that I watched, I don't know whether he did it on purpose, but I feel like obviously after a while I caught on during specific missions, he would switch between the Andrew Garfield suit and the OG Spider, the Raimi Spider-Man suit.
Okay.
And missions that he felt, but most of the time he had the Andrew Garfield suit for the majority of the gameplay. And I was like, yes, 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 yes. Like, yes, this is definitely a very, and even with Miles too, there was moments where he would have like the Cross of Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
suit on as well too. And like, it made me so happy because he's like, he gets it, and it
Yeah.
was a no commentary video gameplay. Because I don't like commentary. It just bothers the crap out of me. If I really wanted to watch that, I just play.
No, yeah, for sure.
But no, yeah, and that was me when I was watching some of it, and dude, there's just it like the story just drives you in, and you care. There's a TikTok that I sent you where he's like, Miles Morales and Peter Parker, those are my dogs.
Yeah.
Like those are my dogs.
Those are my
We're
dogs.
friends.
Yeah.
We're tight. Like I know they're video games. I know they're not real, but they're my friends, and I care for them, and I'm gonna be there for them too because they're Spider-Man and I'm Spider-Man together.
One thing I was really, really worried about with this game is that there may be some neglect towards Miles in developing as like him as a character, and feel like there may be like some sense of like underdevelopment just because this is the sequel to Spider-Man PS4. You know, it's Spider-Man 2. It's not Spider-Man Miles Morales 2. So ultimately it is Peter's storyline, but the importance of Miles in this game, I'm getting towards the end, and all I'm gonna say is that like Miles is the MVP of this storyline. Like
Oh, 100%.
like just to see where Miles was from the Spider-Man Miles Morales to where he is now, like this, like how great of a Spider-Man he's become, and how much like it's just like it's so vague to say this, but like the team literally does not succeed if Miles is not present. Like if Miles didn't exist in this universe, this team would not succeed.
Yeah.
Between Harry, MJ, and Miles, like they do not. There's no way. There is no way. Like you're gonna be you succeed in having success. Like it's insane. I'm gonna go ahead and just read a little bit of the article though.
Yeah.
So, Marvel Spider-Man 2 sold more than 2.5 million copies worldwide over its first 20 hours to become the fastest-selling PlayStation game in PlayStation history after the first 24 hours. The sales include pre-orders and copies sold in the Spider-Man 2 PS5 bundles. 2022 God of War's Ragnarok was previously the fastest-selling game ever, selling 5 million copies in a week. Before that, The Last of Us Part 2 was the fastest selling PlayStation game ever, moving 4 million copies in 3 days. Insomniac's original Spider-Man sold 3.3 million copies in 3 days, and 2018 God of War sold $3.1 million in the first 3 days. Spider-Man 2 has big shoes to fill to catch up to the original game, which has sold more than 30 million copies since. I like that you brought up God of War because when I started playing God of War, I had never played any of them. So Sony offered the originals on PS2 as games you could play on your PS5. So I downloaded them and I played them. I was like, if I'm gonna play if I'm gonna play a game, I want to know the backstory. I want to do my homework basically. So I went and did my homework, and then I played God of War 2018, and it really, really, I enjoyed it. And then Ragnarok, I played Ragnarok, and I was like, dude, this is probably like my favorite game, like of all time. I've never I don't think I've ever played a well fleshed out game. And my favorite games growing up were the Jack and Daxter series. Like
Right.
Jack 3 is one of like that is like my favorite game of all time. But I say the best game I've probably ever played is probably God of War Ragnarok or 2018 God of War. Um, I don't know like how I would like I don't know how I feel about Spider-Man. Like obviously I know I love Spider-Man 2. I just don't know if like all of so Spider-Man 2 is kind of just like it's exciting and it's so fast and it's so adventurous, whereas God of War is more of like a grounded story between son and father and son, and like truly trusting in one another. And at its core, Spider-Man 2 is that as well, but it's a lot. It's so much more, and it's so much more of you know. I don't want to say world building because God of War world building was fantastic too. There is like, in my opinion, there is something that God of War Ragnarok has for me personally that Spider-Man 2 just doesn't. I'm not saying I don't like Spider-Man 2 because I love Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 has had me in smiles the entire time. Like the entire time. Like I've been so shocked with what I have played and witnessed. God of War, I don't know, just hit different, and it just struck a chord in my heart where it was just so memorable, like with
Of
me.
course.
Um,
Yeah, no,
you know,
yeah. I may have gotten ahead of myself in saying that whole Nathan Drake thing because Nathan Drake, I love that story altogether. And it is 4 games. This is
yeah,
barely its sophomore album. In a sense, technically it's third with Miles Morales because it is all a condensed story. And once you beat it, I can't wait to talk about it.
almost there.
But it is absolutely amazing and I will buy it eventually, but at the moment I just don't have time for video games, unfortunately. Yeah,
Yeah,
even though I said that it took me 3 days to finish a 15-hour and 46-minute, like I have time clearly, but I just don't have, what's bothering me, and I'm gonna be real honest, is the fact that I don't have an HDR setting in my TV and I can't have it in my room and I can't have the comfort of like playing it alone in my room with my headset,
yeah,
and just being immersed completely without being interrupted, even though like the interruptions are no one's fault but mine. But I just like, if I don't have the quality of a video game at its full presence, I won't play it. It's
yeah,
like if I can't see a movie at home, even when it's 4K, and I don't have the 4K resolution, it bothers me. And like
yeah.
I won't watch it. It's like the little things for me. I don't know if you can relate to that. But generally that's the biggest issue for me overall as to why I haven't brought myself to like spend time with my PS5, and that sucks for
Oh
me.
yeah,
But in terms of its story and game, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh wow. Oh wow.
it's
Just
insane.
wow.
It's insane. It's funny you bring that up, like not having the correct like settings to be able to play the game or to be able to watch a movie. I 100% agree. It's just like because like you say, like these TVs that we're buying 3-4 years ago ultimately aren't gonna cut it, you know, to be playing what they're aiming for in these games. Like it's meant to be played in 4K. Obviously, if you're able to support it. Now, don't get me wrong, the entire game isn't offered in 4K. Well, the entirety of games are rarely offered in 4K. They'll be damn near close to it, or as close as they can possibly get, but they're not. But like not having the HDR setting, like like yeah, it does make a difference because it's like there's a clearness to it that you obviously just want to that, and it's just like even me, I have a monitor. I don't. It makes my game look really really good, but it has like a matte coating over the screen of like it has a non-glare coat, and I was just like, you know what, I don't want that. Like it's like it doles out some of the colors. Now it is
Mhm.
the monitor is essentially more like for competitive gaming and stuff like that. So I moved my PS5 over to my TV, which offers HDR, and like the experience with it has just been amazing. One thing I will say, and if it's spoilers, I do apologize. They have the Spider-Man, they have the Into the Spider-Verse, or they have Spider-Verse suits in the game. and when you wear one of those suits, the game purposely drops frame rates on the suit area. So wherever the suit moves, your frames specifically drop. The reasoning for that is to get the glitch effect when the way they swing in the films. So you're swinging through New York, and yeah, New York looks amazing, but your Spider-Man is glitching like they do into the Spider-Verse films, and it looks really really cool. It looks fantastic. Looks
I
really
love
really cool.
that. It's attention to detail, man.
It
It's the
is.
attention to detail that makes these games as cinematic and an experience as they're supposed to. And I think groundbreaking games such as these, like Ragnarok, The Last of Us, even part of the Uncharted series, maybe, but Spider-Man specifically, they're gonna pave the way into what cinematic experiences are gonna be moving forward. And this is the foundation that's going to be incredible gaming for years to come. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be a immersion there where no longer people are probably going to be looking for media. Like, obviously we're going to have more consumers in terms of video games, in terms of that consumer outlet, um to experience that, or they're going to turn it into a franchise like they always do, or make it into a limited TV series
Yeah.
like they did with The Last of Us. But you know, making video games into a TV show has proven to be very, very, not 50-50. It's always like a 75-25% ratio of like it failing and 25% of it succeeding, with only 25% of it being The Last of Us, and that's it.
Yeah. Um,
But
I want to. You say paving the way. In terms of Uncharted definitely paved the way. For sure. Cause like when you look at when you mentioned God of War, you mentioned at least the first Last of Us, Spider Man, Spider Man PS4, Spider Man Miles Morales, Spider Man 2, Uncharted 4, and even God of War 2018 and God of War 2022. Um, if you play those games, there is one thing all of they all have one thing in common. The people who made them love what they made. Like they
yeah,
like you like I can't play like when I played Uncharted, I could not argue that the people who worked on this did not enjoy what they were doing to craft us a great story and deliver an ending that was as perfect as Uncharted 4.
yeah,
Same thing with God of
yeah,
War 2018, God of War Ragnarok, Spider Man PS4, Spider Man Miles Morales. Spider Man Miles a little different just because it is clearly just like a placeholder for giving you something while they're working on something else, but it heightens the experience of knowing what happened in the next game. And one thing with Spider Man 2 and all the other games I've mentioned, you cannot argue the people that worked on them did not love what they do. They did. They loved it. They absolutely loved what they were doing because it worked. Like it just worked. They worked their asses off. And games are getting bigger and bigger. They're more
yeah,
like we got Spider Man 100 gigs itself. You know,
yeah.
100 gigs you're just installing onto the system. The people who put blood, sweat, and tears into this, they loved what they did. There's no doubt about it.
No argument whatsoever.
You know,
Oh man. No,
but
yeah, that game is amazing. So damn bad. So good. It's so good.
yeah, it's
Um,
amazing. I can't wait for 3. It's on the way. They've more or
oh,
less
oh,
confirmed. They don't have to confirm it without. They don't need to confirm it without knowing it's not coming. With the success of
they
1, 2, and Miles Morales, like there's number 3's coming.
there's a setup.
Is there? I haven't finished it. I can't wait to. I feel like I kind of know. I feel like I'm kind of it. They're setting up. It kind of makes sense the direction, or I am kind. It seems at least the direction they're kind of going because there is some like art that we did talk about a while back where I'm just like it kind of seems like maybe that may be the direction that they may be going in. We'll see though, because I haven't finished it, so there's still a no. There's still a bunch of surprises.
It's gonna
I'm
be, yeah.
I'm
That's,
still
oh man.
shocked at some of the suits that my Spider-Man has worn. So yeah, but we got one last topic.
Yeah, this will be a quick one. I wanted to add a little bit because I think it's really nice. This is actually coming from the Hollywood Reporter. The article is written by Christy Pina and it was published on the 24th. Daniel Radcliffe partners up with a Harry Potter stunt double who was paralyzed after Deathly Hallows accident for a documentary. David Holmes, The Boy Who Lived, features interviews with Radcliffe, who also serves as an executive producer on the project. The article reads, is partnering up with Daniel Radcliffe is partnering up with David Holmes, his longtime stunt double in the Harry Potter films, to create a documentary based on his life. Holmes was brought onto the film franchise ahead of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and over the course of 10 years, he and Radcliffe formed an intricable bond. However, in the penultimate film, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, Holmes had a tragic accident on set that left him paralyzed after a spinal injury. As Daniel and his closest stunt colleagues rally to support David and his family in their moments of need, it is David's extraordinary spirit of resilience that becomes their greatest source of strength and inspiration. Warner Brothers Discovery said in a statement about the documentary, which is directed by Dan Hartley, who also directed Lad, A Yorkshire Story. The statement continued, stating, featuring candid personal footage shot over the last decade, behind the scenes material from Holmes' stunt work, scenes of his current life, and intimate interviews with David, Daniel Radcliffe, friends and family, and former crew. The film also reflects Universal's themes of living with adversity, growing up, forging identities in an uncertain world, and the bonds that bind us together and lift us up. David Holmes, The Boy Who Lives, marks the most recent collaboration between the stunt double and the actor. The pair launched a podcast in 2020 called The Cunning Stunts, in which they speak to notable stunt performers in the industry and break down some of the biggest action scenes in films. The project is produced by HBO Documentary Films in association with Sky Studios and Lightbox Rebel Productions. Simon Chin, Jonathan Chin, Vanessa Davies, and Amy Stairs serve as producers, with Radcliffe, Holmes, Hartley, Sue Latimer, and Sarah Safovic executive producing. HBO's EP includes Nancy Abrahams, Lisa Heller, Tina Nguyen, and Poppy Dixon's EP for Sky Studios. That is a really touching and loving story. I didn't know about Cunning Stunts. I'm going to check that podcast out, but I think it's really nice to have um, Daniel like revisit that, and also too just to kind of just form a whole documentary on him, because
Mm-hmm.
apart from him, getting this notoriety of him portraying Harry Potter, it's also like a love and care for the behind the scenes art that happens, like stunt doubles and recognition for that. And it sucks because I remember the accident that when it happened, I think it shut down production for a couple of weeks. Uh, when David Holmes had that incident back then. But they just went back into it and didn't finish the project, obviously. But what are your thoughts on this? Because I personally really like this. I think this is really nice, and I can't wait to see it. I like the fact that HBO is producing it. Um, but wow, like whole life documentary on this man. That's really awesome.
Yeah, I think it's hard not to like it. Whether it's like to call it how it is, whether it's not just a easy cash grab for Warner Brothers. It's good that his story is getting told, even if it isn't with the right intentions by the studios. Because at the end of the day, like he has a very inspiring story, is an awesome story. He's a part of one of the most successful franchises, a franchise that is still well loved and respected today, where there's no need to necessarily like continue on with it, or even remake it in some sense, whether or not it is like whether it's true, whether it's actually in development, at Warner Brothers for a TV series. How great it just holds up. It's just like it's fantastic, to hear that Daniel Radcliffe is willing to be a part of it, and even be partnered up and produce, help produce this. I'm pretty sure we'll see some other faces, some other friendly faces from the Harry Potter franchise show up in whether it's in cameo work or archive footage, or it's just like other
Oh man, yeah.
or other ways. It's just like in support of him, like it's just like how could you not? He was on production of Harry Potter for 10 years. So it's just like how could
How could they
then again
not?
too,
Yeah. Uh,
it's not maybe about them, but I can see them showing up for and support, and maybe showing up in archive footage that they may have.
I'm excited to see the archive footage, but I'm more excited to see just the documentary in general. I think, I mean, with their reunion that they did recently, even the fact that they all kind of went down the line and like had the original actors come back and, just kind of like kind of recount their times on set was really nice to see, and just more of an inside depth, and not to see it more from like a production point of view, and obviously with the stunt coordinators and everything like that, it's going to be a whole wild opening, because it's such a form of art, a beautiful form of art, and it's very dangerous and practical, and very life threatening. um but it's doable, and it's also like with coordination and choreography it can be achieved, and I think that's, I can't wait to see that aspect. I'm really excited because some documentaries can really be have a formula to how they're structured, and then some of them can just be like completely different and take you on a whirlwind of like a different way of narrative storytelling, which I really enjoy. So I'm
Mhm.
excited to see how this pans out, and I really do uh hope they pay him justice, even though you're right, it might be a cash grab. Um, but I hope it isn't. I hope it's the best of intentions from the actual producers, not just the studio in general. But um, it's in a sense, because at the end of the day, too, like with everything that's been going on recently with studios and obviously the writer's strike and SAG-AFTRA, um, more and more things are coming to light when it comes to studio production meetings and how they treat these actors
Yeah.
and their material and their directors and everything. So it's like it's a really toxic business,
It's
in
really
show
it's an
business.
ugly place right now, and the things that are
Uh-huh.
coming into the light of what you're learning about, and just the simple, I mean, easiest, if you're uninformed, on it, the easiest way to look at it, or the easiest way to see it, is how crappy their residuals we're getting paid, with our writers. It's just like perfect example,
Insane.
and wanting to steal likeness from actors. It's just like absolutely insane. Um, but yeah, fantastic. I think it's fantastic. I love that. I love that Daniel Radcliffe is a part of it. It's just like I'm sure. I really hope the studio doesn't push for him to be involved in like every single,
Harry Potter thing. Yeah,
yeah, like
no.
every
I
single thing like about this, like in terms of like him having to be in the entire documentary. Like I really hope he's not.
I hope it yeah, I hope it like focuses more on David Holmes and
Yeah,
his
exactly.
stunt work, and just more of like impersonal. Like if it's gonna have all these type of like interviews with friends and family and intimate lives, then show that, make that the heart of it completely, because that's a huge change
Hundred
to
percent.
someone's life,
Yeah.
you know.
Someone who literally gave his body for the thing that
Yeah,
he loved, and probably still loves. The fact that he's willing to do this documentary, and he does a podcast, about it. It's just like he clearly loves, the art of filmmaking, specifically stunt work, which stunt work is not an easy thing to do. Arguably, it's just like probably the riskiest thing to do in the film industry is stunt business. It's like, look, I mean, his body is not, is does not work because of an injury he had on
on set,
set.
yeah.
It's just like he
And then
gave
there's
like,
there's some others that have lost their lives, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so to know that there's a survivor within that is amazing. So it's a little small topic, but I did want to make just
It's
for you guys to keep an eye out, and this documentary coming out. I feel like that's something worth definitely checking out.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. I mean, fantastic idea. Ready to wrap this up though?
Yeah, yeah. Rep, sign us off.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that's what you guys are doing. Thank you guys for listening as well. For those who are listening, hope you guys are obviously enjoying this episode. Or enjoy this episode and check out our last few episodes, as those have been a little wonkier and a little different, but we're getting through it. Also check out Killers of the Flower Moons, spoiler open review talk that we had with my coworker Joseph, my buddy Joseph, on it. Again, special thanks to Joseph for coming in and wanting to talk about the film and being a part of it. So we can't wait for you guys to check that out. That comes out Friday. I know I promised it last Friday, but you're getting it this Friday, so deal with
Sweet.
it. But yeah, make sure you guys are subscribing. I don't know what episode it is. I always forget. I think it's 145, but I called last episode 145. So I think it's 145. Next episode's 146. So yeah, guys. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you haven't, then it's youtube.com/@ourrealaddiction. And then all the rest of our social media links will be down in the description below of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the YouTube description of the video. As always, I'm Adam.
And I'm Miguel.
And this was Our Real Addiction. Sic Parvis Magnum.
Sick Parvis Magnum, man.